these are our options. And so earlier today, for whatever reason, I guess this client app is regionless, region-free, because I was able to access what I think Cassative or Theomany earlier said on Twitter was the Australia region. So I have gone on all the builds and checked out what they all have. The Soldier and Knight are kind of pointless. The Witch is very interesting because it's obviously a sorcerer and not a witch, but I think that might be a translation thing, which is, again, in and of itself interesting, I think. Although it's not From. From isn't the studio that made this technically, but we also have a Pyromancer build, which is the Gravelord build, but for whatever reason, someone noted for me on Twitter earlier, they took out the Gravelord function because it was apparently causing glitches, so I guess that's why they're doing the network test. Warrior of Sunlight and the Black Knight. So these two builds obviously aren't starting builds, so I suspect that's why they have the little stars there. The Black Knight is the one, interestingly enough, who has the full eye orb, and not like a Dark Wraith or something, which would have made more sense. And the Warrior of Sunlight is the co-op build. My first time ever participating in a network test, so I'm very excited about this. And because I've done extensive testing on everything and made sure that we're all good, I suspect that you are all looking at the buttery smooth 60 frames per second of Dark Souls HD, or just Dark Souls Remastered, I guess it's called. It is beautiful. But we're gonna go die so that we can immediately just go into Hollow mode, which in Dark Souls 1, for those of you who are not aware, means that that we can't be invaded. We also can't summon, but... So we have 4 Alluring Skulls here, which is quite handy. So another difference between Dark Souls and this is that in Dark Souls 1, when you pick something up, if your hotbar isn't full, it will automatically equip it, so that doesn't happen here. Oh, the lip sync, yeah. Yeah, so we're just gonna go without the webcam for now. I hope that's alright with everyone. Come on, Mr. Boar. So... What happened, friend? You're on fire! So, for those who are not aware, there's a spot in his armor right where his tail is where you can backstab it, but not totally necessary. When you could just, yeah, let the boar kill itself. This build is so overpowered compared to the other ones, because we're doing 304 damage. The item shinies look blue in a way that they never have in any of the previous Souls games. So I guess they have a blue tinge to them in Dark Souls 3, but yeah. Hello, Daedalus. I hope you're doing well, friend. That is just a soul item, so we're not going to bother, because can't level up in this anyway. We didn't have the option to change jump, so jump is affixed to, or affixed, it's fixed to circle. Wonder how many little things they put in the test to keep it fresh for new players when the game comes out proper. I played through the area earlier today, during the Australia region test or whatever. There aren't really any differences, because this area, at least as best as I could tell earlier and as best as I can recall, is more or less laid out exactly the same other than the fence. Well, that may be true if you've played the game on the PC data list, but if, like myself, you've only ever played Dark Souls on the 360, then that's a very different story. Oh, that was pathetic. Yeah, the soul absorption also looks blue, whereas in the initial release of the game it looked white. So that's an interesting change. There we go. That was pointless. Yeah, PC with a DS fix, yeah. So if you're someone who's been playing Dark Souls like this for years, then this game obviously wouldn't be worth it, but for me, and also being able to have Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 on the same console is amazing. And so convenient for capturing gameplay and everything. Interestingly enough, I do actually have a PC that probably would be able to run Dark Souls semi-decently now. I recently upgraded my PC, which is why we're streaming via OBS and not just the internal PS4 thing. But I don't like the idea of having both the gameplay. What are you doing, friend? As was that. Oh no. I think it's super worth it for that, plus better jolly co-op. And yeah, on the PS4, I imagine, will probably be... At least it generally seems to be. It will probably be the most populated of the various platforms for this game. So we have a Firekeeper Soul there, and a Channeler watching over it, just as in the base game. But I tested this earlier. The soul duplication glitch doesn't seem to be working anymore. So in the base game, that would allow you to use your Firekeeper Soul, but you would still keep it. But in this, it seems to have been patched. It's weird to say patched. I'll say addressed because it was never patched in the original game. Oh, this build is so overpowered, it's crazy. You can also use multiples of items now. That is another big change. So if you go to use a humanity, you can actually specify the quantity now, which is fantastic. Hopefully the same is true of covenants. So we're going to try at least to take out the Channeler. And then see if we can also take out Lautrec. So this is how I've always dealt with this trap. Triggering it and then just going all the way outside here, because no reason to deal with it in such tight quarters when they can surround you and take you out. You are not alone in that, Laniel. And it's not even just faster, it's smoother, and it feels better to play. It feels much better to play. Wow, you take everything out with one shot with this. It's pretty nuts. Be wary of liar, indeed.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without recourse.
So, another random thing that I noticed was changed is the font of the subtitles. The font is different. Oh, I meant to rescale the UI after we... Silly me.
Please, I have duties to fulfill, and I will reward you handsomely. Well, I am certain you stand to benefit.
I'm certain you stand to benefit, yes. You have a ring that we want.
Thank you. Yes, sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Karim. I truly appreciate this, and I guarantee a reward. Only later.
Of course it's later. Only later.
Oh, choice. I was once grateful to you. But this is our fate. So...
I'll never forget when I was a noob in Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1's the only or was the first Souls game that I played. And I was trying to get...
How could I?
I wanted to attack Lautrec, but he kept killing me, so I summoned someone, and then I couldn't understand why they weren't helping me fight Lautrec. I didn't realize that, yeah, NPCs are ghosted to other players. Buttery smooth 60 frames per second. So we're going to reverse our hollowing. We can fix that. Oh, so actually, just to illustrate, one of the great, and I say great, it's a very simple one, but one that was much needed, the ability to use multiple items for anyone who's just joining us. Hello, Killer Vic 187. I'm glad you were able to make it, friend. I'm happy to hear that, Nicole. Not very much, Killer Vic. Just enjoy. Wow, look at all the summon signs. Yeah, I can see whoever made that point about 10 minutes ago. The summon signs are a little bit bright. I could definitely stand to tone those down a little bit. So let's do some invasions. Hey, Black Knight friend. That ass, though. No, no! Yeah, you can't cancel animations. Do you not want to fight me? Why does no one want to fight me? I'm sorry. Oh, terrible. Terrible! I'm quite happy with it, but... Sorry, friend. People say this looks like DS Fix, but honestly, I never got the game to look this good, and increasing FPS was utterly broken. Yeah, because there are some spots, I'm led to understand, where you just fall through the world, right? So, at least this way, you know you don't have to worry about switching from 30 to 60 FPS and stuff like that. That would be a nightmare. Well, not a nightmare, that's overstating it, but... The frame rate still drops? I haven't noticed any frame rate drops. Oh, it's so great to be playing Dark Souls 1 PvP on the PS4 no less. No, like no stamina with these builds though. No, that was dumb. GG. Yeah, that's what I mean, Traceries. You shouldn't have to worry about that. And so it's not like it's great that that was available, and it's kind of sad that that was an issue that FromSoft didn't address that themselves, and then some, you know, fan had to make a mod to address that issue. But oh my god, whoa, whoa. Loincloth friends. Oh, sorry, friend, but oh no! I thought we were friends! Not that kind of friend, but... Rip. Oh no! Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I guess that tells me that this is the network test meta. The loincloth, the helmet. We are looking good. Yeah, it's like... I don't want to say it was an afterthought, because obviously PvP was a thing in Demon Souls, but... I think they started putting more attention... They started paying more attention to PvP starting with Dark Souls 2. Oh, finally someone, like, gnawed in the... Oh! There's a Sunbro too? 2 Sunbros. Oh, this is... Okay. Let us... find a good spot to wait. Because we know that seeds are not a thing. Actually, screw that. Let's go. Let's go fight him head on. You could always grind for the baller swag. So, oh yeah, it's true. I was wondering earlier whether I might get that drop. Oh, I deserve that for not paying attention. Oh, you can use it. Oh, that's interesting. I suspect that's probably just for the network test. Rip. Rip. GG. No. They're the ones who spanked me, but that's okay. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I think it's one of the menus from Dark Souls 3. I just basically took it, cropped it out, and then shrunk it. I cut out a little bit of it at the right-hand side of it. It was from the box where you see the item descriptions. For the item descriptions, the frame for the item descriptions, I should say, in the loading screens. And yeah, I figured it worked much better. It looks like it's more of an element of the UI than, you know, blue and white gradient thing. It would be nice if you could cancel out of gestures. It's another loincloth, bro. No. Rip. Okay, let me know if it happens again. If it happens again, I'll just ditch the webcam. Either that or I could try restarting it. You know what, we've been going for an hour, so after this invasion, we'll take a break. And during the break, I'll see if I might be able to address that. Hi, friend. Praise it indeed. You got in a bad spot there. Such a funny detail that all the demo characters have different gestures available to them. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And that the default one reflects the character as well. Alexander Souls. Finally, someone making their way through the area. Hello. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, he's fat rolling. Oh. No. GG. Wrecked. Here in Brazil, we butcher most of the English names too. Fair enough. Yeah, point up. Yeah, this is among the least interesting areas to invade in when, like, there's no dragon or anything. No Drake, rather. I would have loved if it was Darkroot Forest, but I understand why it's not. And it's might not be for this reason, but there's a lot of places in Darkroot where you can access another area. I showed that off in my casual playthrough of Dark Souls 1. When I invaded some really high-level person and then waited for them to kill, or to be killed by someone else and reap the souls I was just hiding elsewhere. GG. Yeah, normal Berg would have been good too. Any difference in gameplay? No, not really. It's just Dark Souls 1, but smoother and more enjoyable to play. The real test, as far as I'm concerned, will be Blighttown. It's short, has an early boss, and an easy enemy layout. Yeah. But it, again, kind of, and you know, player enjoyment isn't really why they're doing this, but it would have been better to have an area that, yeah, is a little bit more interesting to do PvP in. I think we're gonna do one or two more, and then we'll restart as a Sunbro and drop our sign for people. Said Blighttown, and I instantly recoiled in my mind. Yeah. Yeah, well, and generally, I just skip most of Blighttown because of the FPS. So, oh god, I hope they don't release Dark Souls 3 Remaster. how I prep notes for the lore series. No, it's not off topic. I basically play through the area. I set up a restore point where we left off from the previous episode, and then I play through the area probably 5 or 6 times, getting a sense of the route I want to take through the episode, and with each item I pick up, I take a screenshot of the item description so that when I use the overlay to just show it on the screen instead of pausing it in the middle of the playthrough, because it's all, at least when guests are on, it's all post-commentary. So I take screenshots of all the item descriptions, and I make notes on a notepad about things to talk about. I capture the time-lapse shots that I've been using in the last 5 or 6 episodes for each area, and the Pyromancer build is so underpowered, it's ridiculous. And that gives me ideas too. But at that point, once I have all of the item descriptions, I look through them and I see which words I want to use for fun with definitions. That took a long time. So, yeah, Demon's Souls Remake will probably never happen, sadly. Yeah, so I decide on which item or which words from these item descriptions I want to do fun with definitions with, and then I create a PowerPoint presentation, essentially, where I include screenshots of the route through the area, the item descriptions, the fun with definitions, and then if there's something in particular we're talking about, I do a search in the comments section for keywords related to that thing to see what people have said in the comments about that in the past. And then I look at the comments from the most recent episode, and I compile as many comments as we can discuss during the flow of the episode itself. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much it. That's like probably 20-25 hours of work. And then there's the recording. And when I record, with guests, it's just basically we have the audio, and I have to find footage for all the things that we're doing, essentially. So, yeah, it's a lot of work. But it all starts with just playing through the area multiple times, making note of things that I see, hoping for rare drops. I also use the guide, which in the most recent episode I used it as a way of actually discussing the strengths and weaknesses of each enemy, whether they have special abilities, things like that. And that, I think, was, I don't know, I guess you can all tell me whether you think that was a good addition, but a bit of extra work, but, I think it really added to that segment where we talk about the enemy names, instead of just having a list of the enemy names. So yeah, so the Warrior of Sunlight has both a Claymore and a Sunlight Straight Sword. They're both +1, but still nowhere near as much damage as the Knight build, which has the Black Knight Greatsword. It was very dumb of him to try and trade with me there, but it worked out. Not that time. GG. I still have yet to watch more of Let's Talk Lore. I got far into Bloodborne, but not so much Dark Souls 3. Your work on the lore is too underappreciated, my friend. Well, thank you, but I think it's not so much the number of people that appreciate it, but the quality of the people that do. And I think that the quality is tremendous and really second to none in terms of lore discussion on YouTube. It would be weird if someone go back in time and tell me that I would listen to some guy on the internet talk words about definitions. I would love it. Yeah. Well, that was the original idea behind the segment. Well, and why I did the sing-song voice and everything. It was just because it was such an absurd idea. But that, you know, oh my gosh. That's so fucking clever. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, whoever this person is, mad props, because that is amazing. Oh, and the camera in here is so... Where did they go? There they are. That's amazing. Oh my god. No. I don't deserve to kill this person because it's too clever. Oh my god. Oh, almost. No. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god, I got destroyed by this. Well done, friend. Well done. That's gotta be where we end the invasions. Because it doesn't get any better than that. We're not we're not gonna get a better invasion than that. When you come to it and you can't go through, you can't knock it down, you know what you found? The wall. Yep. It's like that OG Dark Souls video. Oh, that was incredible. Props to that person, because yeah. I had no counter for that. I was trying to kick, but yeah, I couldn't do it consistently enough, and that was really good. They certainly made great use of that Black Knight shield, that's for sure. Okay, we could use pants, or yeah. No, I can't go without the thong. Anyway, Aegon, thanks a lot for the stuff you make, bud. Helped me get through so many nights, even my girlfriend got a little bit jealous. Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. Dragonarian? It's my pleasure, and thank you very much for saying that. Just knowing that my videos help people get through hard times, or just that people are happy when they see that I've uploaded one. It really, you know, that's the whole reason I do it, pretty much. So, thank you for watching. Slayer 5-0? Are we, Oh, the Pyromancer comes with a... Oh, yeah. Comes with a bow. That's curious. Are you just waiting for people to invade? Is that what you're doing? I gotta say I don't... I'm not especially fond of the Sunbro color. Because it looks less like we're... looks less like we're Sunbro and more like we're Urine Bro. I don't know if I'm alone in that. As you may have noticed, I'm not a usual Twitcher. Well, that's alright. You don't have to talk in the chat if you don't... If, it's a problem for you. It's all good. I loved your Demon Souls playthrough. Thank you, I'm glad. Because I know that might have been painful to watch for those who are familiar with Demon Souls. So I guess as Sunbros, we're just going to be more or less ganking, aren't we? I suppose that's why they made the invasion build so overpowered. Because you're going to be, and allowed you to heal. No. Sorry, friend, but... One guy points down. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with lurking. No, it's honey, really. Jaundice. Banana bro. Something's wrong with his liver. Piss bros are in the house. Yeah, those are all really good. All really good. Okay, we should probably heal up. Oh. Just standing against the wall. Is he glitched out or nope? Okay, that was strange. I ain't above that though. Has some serious lag. Aegon, your discussion about depression and various difficult times through what I believe is related to your studies, combined with some anecdotes about depression amelioration through playing Dark Souls, actually got me thinking about trying to pull off a cognitive science study, looking at how a game like Dark Souls affects depressive-like neural activity. Well, that's really interesting stuff. And yeah, I hope that bears fruit, because that sounds like a really interesting idea and is the type of study that probably hasn't yet been done. Lovely, sickly shade of goldenrod and Scotch broom, not Scotch bloom. Okay, nice. So this guy is actually going through the area. Can equip things on ladders, which is good, because you can do that. You were able to do that in Dark Souls 1. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with wall of text as long as Twitch will display it. It would have been an issue back when I was streaming on the PS4 because it only displayed like 100 characters at a time, it felt like, and did not properly wrap the text, which still blows my mind that they never actually fixed that. That was really bad. It'd be a cheap study with just enough grant money to run an EEG machine and keep the lights on in the lab. Well, I wish you all the best with that. That's really quite interesting, and I'm, of course, very glad anything that I can do. I forgot that you can't kick while one-handing a weapon that you can't properly wield otherwise. That's annoying. But yeah, no, it's really fascinating to hear, and I'm flattered that it helped you come up with that idea. A Werther's original, yep. Should go open the shortcut, friend. I almost forgot to do that earlier. So someone was saying in the chat that you can rush to the gate? I don't know, I think they look alright. Nice parry, friend. Alright, he's throwing the challenge down. Oh. What happened, friend? I'm paying attention. That was terrible. I feel like the channeler... I did say earlier that the gameplay was identical, but I feel like the channeler is a lot more aggressive. I wonder if it's just 5. I'm also wondering whether it's just 5 Estus or if it's like a Dark Souls 3 situation where it's half of your Estus. Because we do have 10 otherwise. Never fix the Havoc ragdolling from. I agree with that. From what you've played so far, what do you think of some of the criticism people have for the new look of the game? A bit hard to be concise about the exact complaints. To be honest, I've paid zero attention. Like, I have no idea. I just heard when we were doing a test stream of Scholar of the First Sin that people had complaints about the game. I think, notwithstanding the blood stains, which look pretty bad, and the fact that, yeah, we're jaundice bro or piss bro, and not quite a sun bro. And I think otherwise, I think the fog gates look great. I think the bonfire especially looks amazing, which is why you saw at the beginning of this stream, I made a new intro for this live stream, just using that. Using the bonfire. Because it looks so... Yeah, maybe that's just 60 FPS. I think that the particle effects for the buff, the channeler's buff, and the items... Oh no, this is bad, friend. This is bad. We gotta go, we gotta go. Yeah, usually I leave the hollows outside. Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't so bad. But these guys are all buffed now. But yeah, no, I have no issue. What the? What the? What happened? He went on a stairway to heaven. He was on a stairway to heaven. Oh my god. That was incredible. Like, what did we just see? I remember this part the first time I play. Yeah, he just walked up the stairs into, yeah. Or maybe he was going to Anne Orlando, I don't know. That was some kind of ridiculous. Nice parry, friend.
Thank you.
They're not all buffed. It was just the... It was the Dreglings there, the hollows. But the buff wears off and took out... I hope you know I'm not going to be able to help you with Lautrec, friend, if you're going to take him out. He's on his own. Hopefully he knows, unlike me when I first started playing this game. No, it makes sense, Lanyo, because otherwise griefers could kill NPCs, right? You want the host to be the one to do those things if ever they're going to happen. I think otherwise it would be, like, it would make for some good trolling opportunities, but... Oh, I keep forgetting that I have a lightning spear. I could have been... I could have been using magic this whole time. At least 10 of them. Slayer 50 was using one of the starting builds, which... Oh, I forgot I could do that. Is using one of the starting builds, which doesn't have... Oh no, it's the Pyromancer class, which actually has the... Eyes of Death, but they've disabled it because apparently it was causing issues. The lighting might be making stuff look bigger. Light has one hell of an effect on how we perceive things. Dang, the Shining Slayer is looking rough. Yeah, it's the piss bro or the jaundice bro look. Guy's pointing down. Oh, a terrible dodge. Yes! Oh. A little bit of lag. But the frame rate, I don't feel like at any point it's dropped below 60. So that is very encouraging. Wow, talk about getting stomped. I hope they might patch the Piss Bros effect later on. It looks really bad, funny as it is, especially jarring since Black Phantoms look fine, yeah. Yeah, it just feels so great to play Dark Souls 1 in 60 frames a second. I should have had my eye on the board there. That was close. Oh, wow. That was bad. The corpse there. Yeah, I feel like the physics are like jacked up to 12, or maybe that's just because of the frame rate. Because we've seen some really weird things. And the boar seems a little bit more docile. I might just be imagining that. So I'm hopeful that the game will include the option to rebind jump to R3. Because that's, yeah, one issue with the Dark Souls and Bloodborne. Could you not? Yeah, you couldn't remap it in Bloodborne either, wow. Remastered will be my first time playing Dark Souls, so I'm kind of excited not much has changed. Mostly the original experience, but without the lag. Dark Souls 2 definitely had a first half and a second half feel, but that is what happens when you change directors midway through. Yeah, well, I think even Dark Souls 1 is bifurcated in a similar way. In that pre-smo and post-smo are very different, but I think the entire game is great, but obviously there are some areas that are, you know, very obviously unfinished, like Lost Izalith is not the greatest. But that is another area that was a problem frame rate wise in the 360 version of the game, so I'm looking forward to seeing if they've addressed such issues. Or if we go to Blighttown and it'll be like 30 frames per second instead of like 10 or 15, whatever it drops to. There's no armor that really fits with it, yeah. Yep. With the boar helm. Well, and I guess that's because like you're also taking part of the boar with it, I think. So at least that seems to be the implication. Again, that's just a soul item, so we're not going to bother. Yeah, that gargoyle helm's pretty ugly too, I guess. Could go either way. No, I don't think Sten's Fortress will be any more merciful rolling Ewok, unfortunately. Maybe it's, yeah, you know what? If the first time you played the game was at 30 and you're playing this time at 60, it might actually be a little bit more forgiving because you have just that little bit more control to ensure that you're not walking into the guillotines. Oh, we got the Balder leggings. That's an interesting possible alternative to the loincloth. Yes! Yes! That's even better. Oh my god, look at that. Wow. This guy does not skip butt day. Yeah, it looks almost like we have just like an exceedingly dirty diaper on. Oh! Forgot about you, friend! Oh, drop that weapon for me. That would be amazing. It's just so smooth. And something else to keep in mind as well is that I'm only streaming. Game Valente, it was open for everyone to download for a period of 2 days. And if you downloaded it, you got in. If you downloaded it by May 8th, I think it was. So it's the first time I've ever played in a network test, because it used to be basically by invitation only. Yeah, you guys are not seeing this in its full fidelity, which is 1080p, 60 frames per... Although I guess technically I'm not either. So I'm actually not experiencing it at its full fidelity either, because this is outputting natively at 720 60. So this is not representative of what you will see when you play this game on your own PS4. That's definitely worthy of note. That was terrible. HD Clayman Souls Remaster. AG Pat, I think the controls are the same, but just it feels better because it's 60 frames per second.
Thank you.
So it feels better, but I think that has more to do with the frame rate. I don't think they specifically did anything with the controls. Although there are control options that we cannot access, which I showed everyone earlier, but I'll show everyone again. So it has a scale UI option, which doesn't center it, which is kind of annoying, but it does also have a menu called button settings. And if you look at the top, and someone just is ringing the bell of awakening right now, but if you look at the top, you can see that there are 3 different menus and we're only on one of them, and we can only actually change this, and that's it. So they have a weird sort of middle ground in terms of the things they've chosen to address or improve and the things they haven't. But at the same time, this is certainly not representative of what the final game will be, because we know from many FromSoft games at this point that they can and do change things very late in development. Although this is technically not a FromSoft game, so there's that as well. So you wouldn't imagine that they'd have a heck of a lot of latitude in terms of being able to change things. No, much too early. No, that's bad. Whew. That was close. That actually looks better. I think I had the brightness much too high. I think the blood looks good, but the blood stains are awful. Need bonfire. So that would of course lead us to Firelink Shrine, which doesn't here. Saved by the incline. Can't see. He's poking his... He's poking through me there. Yeah, so they've not done much to address Dark Souls 1 camera issues, but I didn't expect that they would. No, you can't scroll. I think that that looks great. I can see some people thinking that it's a bit overdone, but I think it looks great. Okay, we're gonna do our usual thing. Aggro the Dreglings and bring them out here. Souls quality camera, yeah, pretty much. But it's great. Like, I can't understate how great it is for me in particular, given that Dark Souls 3 Let's Talk Lore requires capturing footage from all 3 Dark Souls games. That it's so great to be able to just have all 3 on the same system. And both 1 and 2 in 60 FPS. Because I'm thinking that now that both Dark Souls 1 and 2 are in 60 FPS, that I might render Let's Talk Lore going forward in 1080 60. So that is to say, the Dark Souls footage would still be at 1080-30, but Dark Souls 1 and 2 footage would be at 1080, or would technically 720-60, but yeah, I think this looks much better now that I've turned down the brightness. And it's still like, I am doing unlock backstabs like I've never stopped playing Dark Souls 1. Like, I still play it every day, which I don't, but I did at one point. How are the paper trees up close? That's a good question. Let's go look. That was one thing I was very disappointed to see, that none of the builds had binoculars. I went to all the builds hoping one of them had... no, they still look like paper trees. Yep. Look at that. It's there, and now it's not. Now it's there. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. Like, it's definitely like 2010 background graphics. Yeah, the 60 FPS, and that's the thing, Game Valente has a good point, that the art direction of this game is amazing, and even on the 360 I feel like it holds up, even though it is a bit dated, because the art style is great. And now that it's in 60 FPS, it's just... Whoa! He's just flying in the air there. I did not know that they could do that, unless that was again... Whoa! Paint me like you paint your French channelers. You can see the many eyes when you just look at them up close. That's pretty creepy. Trees will always be paper, even 50 years of development from now. I remember being fascinated with the trees in Super Mario 64. I'm like, how do they do that? How it like scrolled... always facing you. Wow, okay. I was parrying that guy like it was no problem earlier. Although I might have been using a shield. Channelers are actually spiders in disguise. Discuss. Suppose it's possible? We have seen stranger things in the Souls games. Channelers almost feel ornate, but I know it's just the textures being less muddy. Yeah. They can indeed fly. I think it was... Oh, yeah, that's... Thank you, Slayer50. I think it was that he was up against the wall. That's why it looks so strange. Oh, I sold, like, all my video games... N64, Super Nintendo, Sega Master System. I wish I'd never sold any of them, because the amount that you get for it is a pittance. Alright, so we spoke to him earlier, so we're just going to skip the dialogue. And...
Well, what have we here?
Probably equip... Oh, we do have only the one humanity.
No choice. I was once grateful to you. This is our fate. So be it.
trying to do that without missing a parry, and then I missed the last one. Can't believe I used to be afraid of Lautrec. Oh, I was wondering where I got all my humanity on the other build. That's where. Alright, so now that we have done pretty much everything, let's drop our summon sign. So we'll drop it here for now, but we'll head back to the bonfire and drop it there as well. Yeah, they're not wearing underwear, but they're still cool, I suppose. Okay, let's see if we can... Yes. With the added equip burden, we now have the bracelets as well. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna remember this time to use lightning spears. Which I've never done. I've never used a lightning spear on a gargoyle. Or really in anything, I think. I don't know that I've ever used lightning spears in Dark Souls 1. So when I live stream my playthrough, I think I'm going to give the viewers a choice of whether I do a pyromancy build or a sorcery build. But I generally don't do caster builds, so I would like to do something different. Fist glow. Yep. Oh, that does pretty decent damage. Oh no. This would trigger a dragon if I saw it right now. Both me and Solaire throwing lightning spears. Wow, this makes this boss fight a choke. Holy moly, wow. Yep, that was not especially difficult. Anyone can do it well. Yeah, no, that's true. Although, no, if I were to do a pyromancy build, it would be like a Witch of Izalith or a Daughter of Chaos build or something like that, where I would take it seriously as a pyromancy build. I wouldn't just, choose pyromancy and then do other things. Nice. And oh, he doesn't have... I'm the only one with like these are like Tarzan undies, kind of. Yeah, I think I am leaning towards sorcery because that is a build that I think I had a Big Hat Logan build at one point. Oh, that's simultaneous praising. Me and Crimsonius the 13th are pretty in sync. No, what? Oh, they were invaders. I didn't realize there were invaders here. Let's get this tail. Come on! Yes! It took much too long, but... Ouch. I think the fire looks pretty good. But I do intend to... I don't know if I'll stream before Dark Souls Remastered comes out, but when Dark Souls Remastered comes out, you can bet that at some point around release, I will be streaming my playthrough. So I'll definitely stream the entirety of that playthrough, and then, much like this video, going to edit that and upload that to YouTube. Can't believe I summoned you and didn't even realize it was you. Oh, that was you just now? In which case, cool. Small digital world. Oh, that was a very efficient tail cut. Which is completely pointless because... Well, I guess it is... You know what? You can defeat the gargoyles and not ring the bell. You know what? We're gonna do that. We're gonna defeat the gargoyles and not ring the bell. Alright, we've seen it several times tonight. First hit. That was bad. That was even worse. Just trying to get rid of the tail axe thing. Terrible roll. Oh no, that's bad. Okay. We need to heal, but... as soon as I do it... As soon as I use the humanity, they both come right at me. Whoa, okay, so maybe the particle effect there is a little bit overdone. That trade, though. Okay, well, it's nice when you're not still in the middle of fighting another boss. So yeah, that's basically the network test. Still paper trees everywhere. You know what I never noticed in all my years playing Dark Souls 1? Is that Blighttown? Down... No, it couldn't be Blighttown. It's Darkroot Forest, maybe? But it's cool, you can see all the way down there. Michael Bay particle effects. There is Sen's Fortress, of course. Wow, amazing that you could... Even though we're all the way up here, you can still see the corpses down there. So Andre would be right down there, same as Siegmeyer. There is the Walls of Anorlando. Someone else ringing the Bell of Awakening. Something about Dark Souls 1 I absolutely adore. There is Sen's Fortress up there. And yeah, the skybox, surprisingly, because that's one thing I expected they would change. But the skybox still essentially looks identical. Like maybe there's a little bit more movement with the sun rays here. I guess we'll find out, Cardboard Fox. We need to wait until the actual game is released. Can you imagine if they had made the network test in Blighttown? Somehow I doubt they would ever do that. So we might as well go ring the Bell of Awakening, because I think we're going to call this stream there. It's been 2 hours and 40 minutes. You cannot hold circle to go faster. That was one thing I checked. What are the other things here that I was supposed to... Soul dupe, you cannot do. And we established that you can drop upgrade materials, but whether or not other players can see them is another question. Although I suppose them not being able to see them in the network test wouldn't really say anything about whether or not that'll be a thing in the actual game. But yeah, the view from up here is still pretty much the same. Spectacular, notwithstanding the fact that we have no binoculars with which to look at, because over there we should see giants on the roof. So that's something that I think would have been really cool if they had tried to do something like that, like actually show the enemies at a distance when, you know, just use a lower quality model or something. Well, thank you, Corey. I'm glad you did as well. Or is Unfinished Lost Izalith just Lost Izalith now? Again, I suppose we will see. I think with the ladders, that maybe they didn't want to mess with it, given the issues in DS Fix with going through the geometry when you go down a ladder. Wow, our fashion souls really not the best. So that's going to do it for our network test, but thank you all very, very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.